madam will be dining alone?
Okay, Tony, okay. You've made your point. Can we just go back to normal now?
Normal, ma'am?
You know, like you used to be. No. Hey, yo, whoa, hey.
A-O. O-A. Will there be anything else, madam?
Tony, if you don't stop this right now, I'm gonna kill you!
Dinner is served. If you need anything... You rang?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to...
A-O. O-A.
The Who's the Boss podcast.
That went well, I think. I had this grand idea that we would play
I like it.
a soundbite from the show, or he says it.
Yes.
If you know this show, you'll know what that's from.
Yes. Well, and they just heard it in the clip.
Or this episode.
They just heard
and
it in the clip.
And they just heard it in the clip, right.
Yeah. I mean, if you are listening to this show and you haven't actually watched the show, you should just, I mean, you are lost. Like, we are not a management podcast giving you bad advice.
That's a good point.
Please go get Amazon Prime. I mean, what else are you doing right now? You got time.
Really? That's true.
Fire up the Amazon Prime, start watching.
And catch up.
Yeah. So we're on episode 12 of season 1.
Yes.
This episode's called Paint Your Wagon. It first aired January 15th, 1985. And the original TV guide summary is Angela puts Tony in his place after he has her car painted a color she said she didn't like.
Wow.
No frills. Just straightforward.
Straight up, yeah.
This episode was written by Alyssa Levin, who I looked her up. She had a few other writing credits in the 80s. Mad About You and the show Brothers was a couple of them.
Okay.
But she only wrote one episode of Who's the Boss. I'm always curious about writers who just do like one episode of a show. Like, I don't know if they send in a script and then they're like, oh, that's a good idea and go with it, or...
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. I wonder, too, because you would think, like, certain shows just have writers.
Yeah, like staff writers.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess that wasn't the case, or isn't the case. I don't know. I don't know enough about that stuff.
Or she was, like, a writer's assistant and worked her way up to do an episode. Like, yeah, I'm curious. If anyone knows, let us know. Send us a voice message since we have 0. So.
No, the voicemail box is filling up.
Okay, so we open this episode with Tony making animal pancakes for the kids.
Oh, yes. And he's so proud of his animal pancakes.
They were very cute, but I feel like we missed some of the preparation because it doesn't appear that he, like, poured them. It looked like somebody made pancakes and then they cut out animals and then they placed them back on the griddle to make it appear that Tony had just miraculously made pancakes in the shape of animals.
That's probably what happened. Have you ever tried to make any kind of shaped pancakes?
No, and I see all those fancy like YouTube videos where they have the squirt bottle and they make Yoda.
That's insane. That's a whole nother level.
But if anyone could have done it, it would have been Tony Micelli. So.
I know, but like we even have. Which I haven't used in a while, but we have those Mickey Mouse ones.
Yeah, and it's still terrible.
And it's still a pain in the...
Yeah, it's really hard.
What, to make them.
Yeah.
It's awful.
But his looked good. He had a horse.
He did. And a shark.
Jonathan had a... so Samantha got a horse, and Jonathan got a shark.
And there were several Jaws references.
Yes. That was a big movie at the time.
Yeah, and there was he did the song, and then the... just when you thought it was safe to go back in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, no, Angela made that joke.
Right, she says that. That's right.
So Angela comes into the kitchen. She needs Tony to take her to the train, but Tony can't because his aerobics class is coming over that day.
Yes.
And I thought it was cute how he was saying, like, he does this class because he and the other women can't afford, like, a fancy gym. So he's kind of their gym. I thought that was very sweet.
Yes.
That was cute.
It's all the I don't want to say maids from around the neighborhood.
Yeah, they're housekeepers.
Housekeepers,
yeah,
is what we should say.
They do reference maids a lot in this show.
I know
but I like
do.
how Tony is always quick to say that he's a housekeeper.
Yes.
Instead of a maid. So
ahead of his time.
He tells Angela she's going to have to drive herself to the train, But the Jaguar is scheduled to be painted that day, and it appears that Tony is doing some tune-up work on the station wagon. So I guess they do still have the station wagon and the Jaguar. So Angela has 2 cars. And it turns out that Mona does actually have a car, but she showed up on her bike, so she can't take Angela to the train.
I know.
So he suggests that she take his van, and she says, I cannot show up to the train station in a van that says hot to trot.
Right. But the thing is about Mona is that she actually mentions the fact that she has a car.
Right.
In the episode, even though she shows up on her bike.
Yeah, she must live close enough that she just takes the bike.
Right, but I think that's the first that we learn.
Yeah, that she has a car.
Right.
And so I guess normally when Tony takes Angela to the train, it's in one of her cars because she hasn't been to the train station yet.
Yeah, that's happened before. I think that in the episode where he is trying to rush to the grocery store, he drives the Jag,
right,
drops her off, and then goes straight to the grocery store.
Yeah, so they must try to hide that van as much as possible.
All right. Well, look at it.
Behind the house. It's not in the garage, though, because that's where the aerobics class is at.
Yes.
And I noticed, too, in this scene that Tony is wearing the same sweatshirt as he was in the last episode, Samantha's Growing Up. But it makes sense. Like, I don't think we see a lot of Angela's outfits being recycled here and there, but it would make more sense for Tony's clothes. And plus, they probably spent so much money on Judith Light's outfits that they didn't have any money left for Tony Danza's.
But it works for the episode. Or,
right.
Not the episode, but the series, because they're the character, because he wouldn't have a lot of money.
Right.
He's a housekeeper who came from Brooklyn. He came with what he came with and just has those clothes.
Yes. Everything he owned fit in a van, so
exactly.
He doesn't have
That's a good
wardrobe.
point, too, yes.
So they're discussing what Angela's planning on painting the car. She's trying to decide between light beige and dark beige.
Right.
And they're trying to talk her into red. But she's just, I'm like, first of all, how often, is getting a car painted a thing?
I don't know. I guess it was then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody now. I mean, maybe back then you owned a car longer.
Yeah, and I guess since it's a Jaguar, it's a real fancy car. You should get it painted.
Yeah.
But she doesn't, so she can't do the red, which I think red would be great.
Yeah, of course, a Jaguar. It's fancy.
Light beige or dark beige. But she compromises on sandalwood. So it's later in the day. Angela's off to work. Kids are at school. And we meet some of the other housekeepers while Tony's doing this aerobics class.
Yes, he has his aerobics class.
Yes. And the 3 that we really meet in this episode are Vivian, Phoebe, and Desiree. There are 3 other women, but they don't get to talk.
Yes.
And he's totally checking out Phoebe's butt as he's walking around.
Oh, let me scratch that off my notes.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
But now, do you remember that we've heard of Phoebe before?
No.
Okay.
No.
So in the episode Sports Buddies,
yes,
Angela, Tony's become friends with her boyfriend, and she says to Mona, I'm going to be the first person in the neighborhood who's sharing her housekeeper with her boyfriend. And Mona says, no, Diane Wilmington is sharing her housekeeper with her husband. She just doesn't know it. And Angela says, Phoebe? So they set that up.
That's great. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, so
I do remember that now that you mentioned it.
And then when they go after the aerobics class, they go into the living room where Tony brings them a snack of what appears to be celery sticks and tomato juice.
Or carrot juice.
Oh, yeah, or carrot juice, something like that.
That's up for debate. Leave us a voicemail if you don't know.
Or leave us a voicemail about anything.
If you think it's tomato juice or carrot juice, because nobody leaves us a voicemail.
Just what you're doing that day.
Anything, whatever. What you have for breakfast. And then also let us know if you think it's carrot juice or tomato juice.
And all the housekeepers are surprised that they get to hang out in the living room.
They must be on a diet.
I guess so. I mean, it was the 80s.
Celery
I feel
sticks.
like everybody was on a diet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, you get to hang out in here? And he's like, yeah, I mean, we're friends. Like, she treats me like family. You know, we have... I can't remember the exact wording, but he says something to the effect of, like, we're really close.
Yes.
And Phoebe, of course, is like, oh, I get it.
Yes.
Assuming that he is sleeping with her. And he's
Since Phoebe's sleeping with...
Right. Mr. Wilmington.
Mr. Wilmington.
Yes. So they're trying to get him to, like, complain about Angela. Like, there has to be something that you don't like about her, that she interrupts your watching General Hospital. Right. I love that they use General Hospital, since that was the one soap that I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
But actually, the woman who plays Phoebe, did I write her name down here?
Oh, yeah.
Melanie Vince.
She was actually in...
Yeah, she was
General
in
Hospital.
General Hospital like a few years before that, so I wonder if that could have been why. She played Corinne in General Hospital.
That's cool. It's a cool reference, though.
Yeah. And then Desiree was played by Deborah Lacey. She's still working quite a lot today. I looked her up. House Divided, Mad Men, and The Fosters are just some of the more recent stuff that she's done.
But, like, she's, like, one of those one episode...
Yeah, well, like, The Fosters, it seemed like... Fosters, Mad Men, and House Divided, she had multiple...
Oh, okay.
Had, like, a storyline on. And then other things were, like, one episode here and there. But I like seeing when these people, you know, are still working today. Mm-hmm. So they're like, you know, you think that you guys are friends, but she really considers you a maid. And if you cross her, then you're going to find out exactly where you stand.
Yes.
So it's perfect timing for the guy to show up who's there to pick up the Jaguar.
Yes. Yeah.
And he comes in and he immediately asks if he's Mr. Bauer when he opens the door. So this is another time where Tony has been... It's assumed that he is Mr. Bauer or the husband. And he's about to say that he's the housekeeper, and he changes his mind and says that he's the man
of the house.
Yes. So he's like, I make the decisions around here. The guy's asking, did you decide on light beige, dark beige, or sandalwood? And he goes with Diablo red.
Which, for those of you who don't know Spanish, that's devil. Devil red.
Thank you.
Sorry. Just want to point that out.
So now we're back to Mona having, like, these... We have to show that Mona's in school every once in a while. So she...
That's true, because they never focus on that point.
Yeah, it's just
but
like...
yet every once in a while, Mona's taking pictures.
Right.
Or Mona's writing a paper.
story.
Or
Yeah. Today, Mona's sleeping on the couch when she's supposed to be studying, and Angela's
Which I
helping
laughed
her.
at. I was like, next thing you know, she's passed out. She's so tired. Poor
And
Mona.
I guess the whole thing with Jonathan selling the chocolate was just a reason to get Diane back to the house a second time. But yeah, so Jonathan's selling chocolates for the Indian guides, which pretty sure we wouldn't have Indian guides these days.
Is that a thing? Was it a real... Did you look it up?
I didn't, but I think it was a thing, sort of similar to Boy Scouts.
Okay. Yeah, I just never heard of that.
But yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily a PC thing to
No, I
have
know it's not, but I mean,
days.
back then, was it a thing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it probably was. I did not look it up, though.
Okay.
And if he sells
selling
enough
world's
chocolate...
finest chocolate.
Yeah, it does look like the same world's finest chocolate that you still see kids selling today. And if he sells enough, he gets to go to a state park. So he basically tricks Grandma into buying the whole box for $20. Then Mrs. Wilmington shows up.
Yes.
Who is Delta Burke?
Yes.
I think everybody knows who she is. Best known for designing women. And they set it up that she is someone who comes around and gossips or complains often. Like, Jonathan's already worried that she's there because he did something to her rose bushes. And Mona and Angela are just expecting her to come in and complain about something. So even though we haven't seen her before, it appears that they have a history with her.
Yes.
And she is there to complain because her housekeeper, Phoebe, is dissatisfied.
Yes.
And I think Mona's the one who says if she asked her husband about why. And the reason is because Tony's has too much freedom, and he's too comfortable, and he's making it difficult for the other families with housekeepers.
Yes.
I guess Phoebe tried to entertain some friends in the living room.
Which is unheard of in the other housekeepers' houses.
And then that was it. Like, they don't really say what Phoebe tried to do that made Diane, or she just complained about it. And she says that Angela's spoiling Tony, and Angela at that point is like, can I offer you some sherry?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but she can't find any sherry.
Let me offer you a glass of sherry.
Yeah.
Who drinks sherry?
I don't know.
I guess people do. I shouldn't say that.
I guess so.
Leave us a voicemail if you drink sherry.
Maybe that was a bigger thing in the 80s.
Yeah, I think more that's just cooking.
Yeah.
People cook with it.
And I had a recipe where I cooked with it, and I tried some, and it was gross.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But I don't know if it was just bad sherry. Like maybe
cheap sherry.
Yeah. Maybe there is some really good sherry out there.
It's hard to find sherry, because I was the one who bought it for that recipe.
Right. Yeah. So
there
it must not be very
kind
popular
of sherry at the grocery store.
So when Tony comes in, she asks him if they have any sherry, and he's like, "Oh, don't you remember we killed it the other night watching Rosemary's Baby?" Mm-hmm. So I want to see the episode where Tony and Angela are just hanging out on the couch watching Rosemary's Baby,
drinking a bottle of sherry.
Right? Yeah, getting a little tipsy. Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me. And Angela's getting a little annoyed at this point because he's kind of embarrassing her now in front of Mrs. Wilmington with just how familiar he is with her, and he's teasing her with a basketball, and then finally just throws the basketball at her and goes into the kitchen. And then there's that awkwardness where she and
what
Mona,
was that?
I don't know.
She and Mona, I feel like it was impromptu.
Right,
they just
maybe
did
they just improv,
and they kept throwing it back and forth, and then they just kept it in. It's such a bizarre scene.
Angela and Mona just keep throwing the basketball back and forth to each other.
I know.
It was kind of very bizarre.
And they almost start laughing at the end. It's really funny.
Now we're at the next day, and the Jaguar has come home, painted Diablo red. Mm-hmm. And the kids are super excited. Mona comes in and is
everybody
like,
likes
wow, yeah, everybody loves it. I'm sure it looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And Mona's like, how did you get her to change her mind? Like, she was pretty dead set against red. And Tony's like, well, we might still have a little bit of discussing to do. And he's planning to surprise Angela. Mm. And I don't remember exactly which battle Mona references. Custard, I think?
Custard's Last Stand.
Yeah. But she basically says that this is going to be an ambush more than a surprise. And Angela comes home, and she doesn't sound surprised or happy.
She's yelling.
Right. And everybody just books it out of the kitchen.
I know the other guy, one of, was it Samantha's like, I have homework to do. Right. They all go, he's like, in the backyard? Like everybody goes out the back.
Running out of the house.
Panic set in.
So she is mad. And this is probably, we had last week where Tony was annoyed with Angela, but this is a pretty deep fight between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, this one gets intense.
Yeah. And she basically says, like, I don't pay you to make decisions. I pay you to clean the floors. And you've crossed the line, and you are just the maid around here.
I pay you to clean the damn floors.
Right.
Those exact words.
Yeah. So that's exactly what the girl said was gonna happen if he ever crossed Angela. That he would then see that she really does only see him as a maid and not a part of the family like he thinks he is. Which, okay, so I think red is a nice choice for a color, but
especially
Tony
for a Jaguar.
Oh yeah, but Tony is way out of line.
Yes,
even if he
course.
was a friend, even if he was her husband, I think that's a decision you would still make together. And even if you're a friend, you're not going to do that. So, like, he definitely is in the wrong here.
Yeah, but I mean, he's trying to show off to his housekeeper friends that I can make decisions around here.
Right. And I think he wants to think that that's the relationship that he has with Angela and that he's kind of guiding her life more than, like, just being her housekeeper. He's basically her wife. There was an article that came out recently about a businesswoman who hired a wife, and she said that her career, like she was able to focus on her career so much more that she, like, went higher.
Oh, interesting.
Which is really interesting. But I think about that a lot with this show, because even though Angela is a single woman and a working woman, she has someone in the wife/spouse role. And I don't mean wife to be, an insult, because it shouldn't be, but just the spouse who stays home role. Mm-hmm. Because Tony is more than just the housekeeper in that respect. Anyway, but he shouldn't have had her car painted red.
Back to the issue at hand.
Right. So Tony takes this to heart, and in the next scene, he is wearing a full butler outfit.
I know.
He has set the table. There's that weird little table that they like to pull into the living room.
Like just bust it out
stuff.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's the fancy, like when fancy things are going to go down. Like,
right.
That's the table.
Yes.
Wherever
but we don't,
that lives.
Like, we don't need to actually sit in the dining room, but it's too fancy for the kitchen. So we move a small table into the living room.
But I just love, like, where did Tony get this vanilla jacket and bow tie? And you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Like
I mean, we've been seeing him wear the same shirt in several episodes, but he's got the vanilla jacket and the bow tie and the white shirt.
I know, and that jacket was like so ill-fitting that it was like he borrowed it maybe from someone else.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a really bad jacket. So he set the table with china for Angela and Jonathan to have dinner.
Right.
So the kids come home and...
Well, she says...
Oh, I'm sorry. Mona comes home first.
Right, but is that Angela before Mona comes in, she says, why is there only two places?
Oh, right, yeah.
And he says the hired help eats in the kitchen.
Eats in the kitchen, right.
So Samantha, which tells us Samantha and Tony will be eating in the kitchen.
Right.
In a vanilla coat.
And Mona shows up, and she's confused why Tony's acting this way.
Right. And she looks at the, like, make sure she's at the right address. I thought that was kind of funny.
Which apparently the number on the house is 3344. Because that's what Mona says.
Okay. We should probably write that down and keep track of that.
Yeah. I think the address of the house is 3344 Oak Hills Drive. Is what the house, where the house is supposed to be.
Okay.
So she makes an Invasion of the Body Snatchers reference, which kids are not going to get today, but adults still will. Yeah. And she's like, okay, I figure that Angela didn't like the car. And Angela says to her to butt out and that this is between me and Jeeves. Do you know what that reference is to?
It's like it's just a butler name.
So I looked it up.
I can think of.
That's what I thought.
And there was, remember Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, there was like a search engine.
But I mean, that was after, obviously. Right. But
yeah.
I just thought Jeeves was a butler name.
So I looked it up because I did remember Ask Jeeves, but I figured it couldn't be referencing that. Mm-hmm. And Reginald Jeeves, usually referred to simply as Jeeves, is a fictional character in a series of comedic short stories and novels by English author P.G. Wodehouse. Jeeves is the highly competent valet of a wealthy and idle young Londoner named Bertie Wooster. So there's a series of short stories from 1915.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know there's a reference. That just became like a popular butler name.
Right, because I know that, and off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is, but I know there's a reference in Seinfeld where there's a butler reference and Jeeves is what comes up.
Right.
But I wish I could remember what it is. But anyway. But I just know, I just knew that to be a
butler name. Yeah, reference. Yeah, I kind of always knew of it that way too, but I didn't actually know
I'm
where
glad
it
you looked it up.
from.
I just was letting it go as like, oh, that's a butler name.
So the kids come downstairs. They want to know what's for dinner. And Tony says that Angela and Jonathan will be having prime rib, and he and Samantha are going to have franks and beans in the kitchen. And Jonathan's like, I want franks and beans.
I know. That's funny. Such a little kid thing to say.
I know. So Mona's like, you know what? Let's go out for pizza. And I bet they went to Pizza Playland.
Oh, yeah, of course they did.
Yeah, because where else would you go for pizza in Fairfield, Connecticut? So Angela wants Tony to go back to normal. And we get Angela saying AOOA, which is great. And then the clip
go back to being AOOA. AOOA.
And the clip that we use at the beginning of Tony, all AO.
I know, like he's confused.
Oh,
never
heard. Yeah. So he leaves her to eat her dinner, and he gives her a bell. She throws the bell at the door.
Yes.
And when he comes back into the kitchen, the two of them, you can tell, are trying really hard. Back into the living room. You can tell the two of them are trying so hard not to laugh.
I know, it's funny.
Yeah, that's a great
part. Like he has that look on his face, and then when you cut to her, or when they cut to her, she has the same look, like she's trying not to laugh. But then she runs up the stairs like a child.
Angela does that quite a bit. We saw that in Sorority Sister too. The run up the stairs. Yeah, that must
be your thing.
I also love that Angela's now relaxed at home. I've calmed down and I'm ready to talk. Outfit is a velour sweatsuit but with a polo shirt underneath and the collar popped.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
What else would it be?
Yeah, like, I mean, you don't want to just put sweats on around the house. You really need to add that polo shirt underneath. It's so restricting. Now we're at the next day, or it could be later. They don't really say how much time's passed. And they make it seem like it's been going on for a little bit. But Tony is not wearing the butler outfit anymore, but he is serving tea. Angela has the bell. She rings the bell when he comes in, when it's time for him to come in and clear the plates. And he's ready to go work out in the garage. So if there's nothing else they need him for, that's where he'll be. Now,
right.
Oh, did I miss the part where Mona tricks Diane Wilmington into buying the chocolates off of her?
Oh yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, so that's what gets Diane back to the house, is that she bought the chocolates off of Mona and Mona sold them for a profit.
Yeah.
And now she's there with her $30.
She's selling them for $30.
Yeah. So she shows up with $30. She's wearing a trench coat like she's gonna flash someone.
Gosh, I missed that. I didn't realize that
she's there to pay
with the $30.
Yeah, that she's there to pay the debt. And
okay.
Angela even says something like, "Oh, great, we'll call off the collection company," because they probably have forgotten about the $30.
All right, yeah, maybe I do remember that.
And Diane's basically saying, that she heard that that Tony isn't happy, and Angela's like, "Well, if Tony isn't happy, then he's free to leave."
Yes.
And Diane's like, "Okay, great. Well, where is he?" So they tell her that he's out in the garage, and she goes out there to talk to him.
But at some point, Mona makes a comment about Diane walking the streets. Like you learn a lot by walking the streets.
She said something about how the word on the street is that Tony isn't happy.
Oh yes, and she's like, you learn a lot by walking the streets. Like insinuating she's a prostitute. Yeah,
or sex worker. No judgment.
Oh right,
but
sex worker.
Yes, that's something that you probably wouldn't hear today.
No, that's why I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why it's in my notes.
Especially not on a family show.
Yes.
I know. That's the thing about Who's the Boss and a lot of family shows from this time period is like, they're family shows, but then they just like pull out the word hooker and stuff every now and then.
Oh, there's
and throw
stuff
you
all
off.
the time where like even we watch with the kids, I'm just like, oh no, they won't get that one.
I know. Well, luckily they don't get it. Yeah. I had an uncomfortable conversation with the girls when we were watching Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, because there's a part where a man dies with one of the prostitutes at the saloon, and the girls are like, sex worker, no judgment. And the girls are like, how did he die? And I was like, oh, well, she just entertains guys, so she probably made him laugh really hard and he died. That was my answer.
No, I wasn't around for that one.
No, I just glazed over that one. Anyway, so Mona's like, she's going to go out there and she's going to totally use her sex appeal to try to get Tony to leave. And so you need to get out there. But, I mean, come on. What is Angela going to do? Right. So that's exactly what Diane does. She goes out, finds Tony. Is that a speed bag that he's punching? I don't know what that's called.
I thought it was punching bag.
Oh, is it a punching bag? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that's the actual term for it, a speed bag. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always heard it referred to as punching bag.
Also one of the shots that we see in the open. So she comes in wearing the trench coat. And he's like, oh, or do you want to join my aerobics class? And she's like, no, I already actually just worked out. Takes off
the trench coat and reveals.
To show her little sexy workout
Speedo,
clothes. Yeah.
Whatever.
And so here's my question. Is this just what women on television worked out in the 80s, or did women really wear a leotard with tights and a belt?
Leave us a voicemail. And if you're worked out in the 80s, because let us know if that's what you wore. Like
now it's like yoga pants and t-shirts and stuff, I feel like that's what we see on TV,
right?
But I don't know if
I guess because Phoebe's wearing it, and when they're working out earlier,
they're all wearing them, so maybe that's really what women wore.
Wow,
that's like what our kids wear to dance class. It looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So she is basically coming on to him saying that she wants to trade Phoebe for him. And he knows that she wants to get rid of Phoebe because Phoebe's sleeping with her husband.
Right.
So I think she figures, well, I'm going to get a male housekeeper. And then
I'll do the same.
Right. And, like, even though you know Tony's not going to do it, he's following her like a puppy and staring at her butt. Did you have that on your notes? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always, anytime there's,
and I stole it again, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just that, and then, like, Phoebe's doing, I'm sorry, Phoebe, hello.
Diane.
Mrs. Wilmington.
Yeah.
Is doing these weird exercises while
I know,
talking. Like, what are these exercises she's doing? I don't even understand. I don't think that's a real exercise. She's in the garage doing exercises.
Like, just pulling on those weight things.
Yeah, all weird. It's kind of funny.
Just then, Angela comes in, and she's like, if he wants to leave, he's free to leave, except he needs to pay up the $1,500 to fix my car before he goes. And Tony says that could take years. Poor Tony. It's going to take him years to save up $1,500 for Angela.
Yeah, $1,500.
But he realizes that she's giving him an out, so that if he doesn't want to leave, he can basically take that and he doesn't have to go anywhere. And of course he does, because he doesn't want to leave. And Diane's willing to pay the $1,500, but they're like, no.
The checkbook up that apparently came out of nowhere. She's had the checkbook jammed in her leotard, I guess. All of a sudden, I'll take care of that.
Oh my gosh, that's a good point. I didn't
even
realize
I'm like, I didn't understand where the checkbook
where did that
came
come from?
And
Maybe
a pen.
In the
she had
back,
a checkbook and a pen shoved in her leotard.
Well, at the one point when Angela and Tony are talking, and she's like shimmying behind them, and Angela's like, if she made an attractive offer, maybe she was trying to shake the checkbook and pen
out of her rear end. I guess, sure, whatever.
Diane leaves, and
I must say, good for Mr. Wilmington. Yeah, because he had a wife. That looked like Delta Burke at the time, and he was also having relations with Phoebe. Right. Who looked
like Phoebe,
very nice in a leotard. So good for Mr. Wilmington.
Yes, good for him.
I guess. I mean, maybe his life was hell at that point. I know it's terrible to say,
just a dirtbag all around. I know you never see what Mr. Wilmington looks like.
It doesn't matter.
Now, I will say that Diane Wilmington is going to be back.
Oh, great!
But she will not be played by Delta Burke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They did.
Yes, and I tried to look online to see why, and I couldn't really find. I had heard a rumor.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, did she get something bigger or?
I don't know. I heard a rumor
bigger, but like
that
a regular show.
She and Tony Danza did not get along, and so she wasn't asked back. But I don't. I couldn't find any solid evidence to that, so I honestly don't know. But yes, so Diane Wilmington will be back. She's played by another familiar face.
Maybe somebody was interested in somebody and the other one wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their marital dating status was of either one at this point.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But yes, she will be back. It'll be another face that you definitely recognize, but I won't tell you yet since you don't know.
Okay.
And so then Tony says something casual to Angela, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad that you're done with the ma'am. We can just go back to normal. And he says, well, that's how a proper maid should speak. And she's like, if I wanted a proper maid, I wouldn't have hired an opinionated pain in the neck.
Right.
So that's cute. So
and then he says, oh, I'm getting all misty. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. And so.
But what's great about that scene, too, isn't that where he leans over and he, like, kisses her on her shoulder or
does
something?
He kiss her, like, put his head?
Does something where he kisses her. But then he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
But I just love that every time, at least up to now, when there's some kind of an affection going on between the two of them, there's always an apology.
Right.
Even when, in the first episode, when Angela gets the job,
and
they hug, it's in the open, and then you can tell her body language is like, sorry,
right.
I didn't mean to jump on you, honey. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh, affection. You know what I mean? It's so weird that, like, there's the tension.
Right,
the sexual tension already developing. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, he says sorry for laying his head on her shoulder, whatever.
And it was really cute. I wonder if that was impromptu or if that was actually scripted.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'd love to get my hands on old Who's the Boss scripts.
I know.
Just to see, because I just love scripts to begin with, but I just love seeing like what was actually written and what's just improv in the moment. I have a feeling Katherine Hellman does a lot of improving too that we probably don't realize. And okay, so one more thing to point out about this garage. We both noticed some stuff.
There's a few things. It's a bizarro garage.
Yeah, so...
First of all, it looks like the garage from King of Queens, but I'm sure it's not.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that set it did not stay around that long.
No. And it's different.
Same layout.
Was King of Queens Columbia TriStar?
No, it was shot at Sony Studios. So
okay.
There's no way it is, because I feel like even the first season of Who's the Boss is shot at Universal here in Universal City. So.
Yes, it was. But anyway, the garage has a creepy clown, like, wood cutout that we see.
Which makes no sense.
And then in another shot, you can see this duck, like a little creepy duck on a shelf. That? I have no idea. And then a shopping cart.
The shopping cart was like, what is that all about?
Yeah, what is happening? So yeah, I feel like they were just like, okay, we need to dress this garage. And
what would be in a garage? And
they found the shopping
props department found a bunch of junk.
Right.
Jammed it
threw
in
it in there.
Yeah.
Again, because it was probably a lot harder to see in the background.
Yeah,
it
was fill the background.
I've fill the space.
As a set dresser before on films, it's like fill the background.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't matter what you have, and the shopping cart's bizarro, but.
Right. Yeah. I know Angela's going to get in trouble for that. You're not supposed to take shopping carts.
Like, who came home with the shopping cart?
Right, and it had to be Tony because Angela doesn't grocery shop.
That's true.
Unless that's how she did it before he got there.
Why would she come home with a shopping cart?
And we get one more OA. It's OA, he says.
Oh,
right at the end, where he does agree to repaint her car, even though apparently he's going to have to save up for years for it. But she's decided that maybe she'll keep the red for a while. Because I think she secretly likes it.
Yes.
Now I'm curious, we'll have to keep track. If we see the Jaguar in future episodes, like actually see the car, if it's red.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, because I feel like at some point we do see her car, and I don't remember it being red. But we'll see. All right. That's it.
Yep.
So, okay, first, let's do rating.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure. I give it a 7.5.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good.
Yes, I gave it a 7.
Okay.
And it's interesting because this is one, like, if I'm doing dishes in the kitchen and I just want to put an episode on to be in the background, it's never this one. And I don't even think I had fully, because I didn't show the girls this one because I didn't think they'd be interested because the kids aren't in it very much. But then when we actually sat down to watch it, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay, good.
So I liked it more than I remembered liking it.
The interesting thing to me was this episode shows, like, up to this point, how much they really knew each other. Right. Because Angela could come out into the garage, and when Tony immediately caught on to her saying, well, you're going to need to pay your debt.
Right.
They immediately started playing off each other and knew each other that well that he knew she was saying, you can stay. You know what I mean? Like, that whole thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, because even at the beginning, we're getting the impression through Tony that he really feels that they have a friendship at this point.
Oh, yes. But
like
the fact that they came to that understanding in the garage that, like, you want me to stay? Okay, well, I really do want to stay. Right. So
without having to actually say
like
anything.
An unspoken.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I thought that was kind of cool. That's what boosted it from a 7 to a 7.5 probably for me.
That gave you the extra AO.
Yeah, the extra AO for sure.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you!
All right, so who do you think is the boss?
I'm going to go with Tony in this episode. Because even though he gets in trouble, he still wins in the end. Like, he did make the decision to get her car painted red. Mm-hmm. She was mad at him, but then she came around first. Mona basically said, you need to forgive him. And then he doesn't have to pay her back, and she keeps the car red. So I think instead of her proving to him that he's the maid, he proved to her that he's of more value than that.
Okay. Well, that's good. No, I mean, because I thought Angela was the boss.
I can see that too.
Episode,
yeah, I can definitely see that.
You made me think maybe she's not. But I mean, I think she still, like, even though, like, she really showed that she was the boss at one point by yelling at him and saying, "You clean the damn floors."
Right.
And all that stuff.
That was rough for Tony.
But in the very end, she came into the garage and kind of sold it. And
that's true. You're right.
Convinced him to, not to leave again. What I just pointed out a little while ago. So, so that's why I thought she was the boss.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that as well. So, valid.
Yeah. I think that's the first time we've disagreed on who the boss is.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not. Leave us a voicemail.
I don't remember.
And let us know if you paid attention that closely.
You know what I realized, too? We need to go back and count our AOAs, because I think now, with this episode, we're going to lose track. Because we've got quite a few.
Oh, all right.
So the next episode we are going to watch is Protecting the President.
Yes. What's that all about? I don't even know that episode.
Okay, yeah. This is a pretty good one. So... there's basically some stuff going on at work with Jim Peterson. Remember him? And he's...
Jim Peterson.
Yeah, he's in Truth in Dating, where he brings the guy to the office, and then the guy thinks Rosie's Angela and Angela's Rosie.
Oh,
They introduced him in that episode.
Oh, okay.
He is vice president, and Angela's president, and Jim's kind of been annoyed that she's got the president position, and he didn't for a while. So
interesting.
Now that's going to come to light, and then there's going to be some stuff going on with Tony.
Get my notebook.
Yes, get ready.
Write my notes down.
So that's it. We're done.
Yeah, it was a good one.
If you would like to reach us, we are at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram. You can send us a direct message about anything we missed or anything you want us to discuss on future episodes. Or, like we've said 16 times.
Yeah, apparently we have a phone number. It's a phone number?
No, you just go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast. And there's a little button on there that says message. And then when you click it, you can record a message, like on your iPhone, on your computer microphone, however you want to do it.
Yeah, somebody be the first to leave us a message.
Yeah, don't be, like if you're scared about nervous about just recording a message, don't be. Because, we were pretty scared about doing this, and now it's easy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say easy.
11 or 12 episodes in.
But, yeah, now I don't feel quite as nervous anymore. So you just got to do it, and then you won't be nervous anymore. All right, thank you. So do we have a song?
Yes, we do, but it's actually not a song.
Oh.
It is David Urey doing a monologue of the song. It's actually quite entertaining.
Oh, okay.
So
awesome.
I don't know if anybody knows who he is. He's been on Breaking Bad and a few other shows.
Yes, he's in my favorite episode of Breaking Bad.
Yes, and so anyway, this is him reading the opening to Who's the Boss? Brand New Life.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and tell all your friends.
There's more to life than what you're living. You take a chance and face the wind. There's an open road and a road that's hidden. A brand new life around the bend. There were times when I lost a dream or two, found a trail, and at the end was you. There's a path you take and a path not taken. The choice is up to you, my friend. The nights are long, but you might awaken to a brand new life. Brand new life. Brand new life around the bend.